Welcome everybody to a TISE TV podcast sponsored by, presented by Floor Academy Podcast. Let me see if I can get this mic over here working for you guys. Well, we kind of work this. Hold on. Okay, maybe that's going to do it for us. So, I am Kyle Hadeen. I'm the host of the Floor Academy Podcast. I also run Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona. With me is...
I'm Ken Ballin from New Jersey. I am CTI 1392 and CFI 13604.
Owner of... You got Skyro Floors. There you go. All right. And we're going to talk about why the college agenda isn't wrong, but misguided. So Ken presented this to me one day as we were conversating, and he actually has a daughter that is getting of age to start going to college. However, I know that his two daughters and my son and daughter both have unique experiences in that they still get access to trades. They see physical labor, whereas a lot of younger kids, high school age kids, are not getting that exposure in school anymore. The trades have been taken out of the schools. The shop programs have been taken out. And so it's all, you got to go to school. You got to get a college degree. It doesn't matter what it is. You got to go. That's the only way you can make money. And that's a lie. So where did this thought come from? Like, what is it that annoys you about you got to go to college?
Well, and I don't mind the point of, pushing the kids that you have to go to college, but I don't like that's your only option, because, the kids will do a variety of things. Kids will, have different interests, to be good at different things. We don't need to force this idea of college down their throats. But on the other side of that, it's not an either or situation. It's not something that, well, you don't have to go to college, you can go into the trades. Well, we can do both, I have a degree from Monmouth University in business administration with a marketing concentration and an IT minor, and I'm in the trades. So not only do I have the experience that I've gained from being in the trades of how to, do things with my hands, I also have that degree of how to run my business and how to market myself.
Well, and that's in the trades in general, right? Great hand skills, not always great with business. One of the reasons why the podcast even exists is I saw a lack there, and so we had to try and figure out a way to fix that, and it is helping. So you mentioned that it's not either or, it can be both. But what is it about? I think the message is wrong because the message is you got to go to school, you got to go to school. And there's a ton of, it's lucrative to do what we do. To get down and work on your hands and knees, you can start doing that. Someone's going to pay you to learn, and then you can go and start your own business, and it's essentially as scalable as you would like. It's for whatever effort you want to put in, if you can sit there and figure out how that works. Or you can go to college, end up 4 years doing that, and get the debt, and then how do you pay it? Because you got a, what did you get? A philosophy degree. How do you pay off a philosophy degree?
Well, and what we've seen is, this pushing of going to the college, which is great, but, it's not, we see these installers and everybody who starts installing and, I can install, that doesn't mean you can run a business. So I get questions all the time from installers, hey, what, for advice on not only installation, but running their business, doing their marketing. And I always suggest, well, go take a few business classes. You don't have to go into debt like I did and get a full 4-year degree, but go take a few business classes, take a marketing class, take an accounting class, take something, because just because you're an awesome installer doesn't mean you can run a successful business.
That is 100%. Go try and grab it, get this on the outside, and it's going to probably pick you up better. Yeah, so you go to school, you get these things, and yes, just because you're an awesome installer doesn't mean you can run a business. We see it every day. Look, not everyone's meant to be a business owner, and maybe you should go be an employee, but maybe guys that are going and getting this quick business education can run a business where they can actually pay an employee installer properly to make it worth their while. When you're leading a crew and it's $25 an hour, you can't. That's not a livable wage, in my opinion.
And you have to be open enough to know that the more you learn, the better off you're going to be in business. The more effort you put into anything, the better off you're going to be. So there's no waste of time, there's no waste of money when it comes to educating yourself, whether it's on the installation side or the business side. Everything is good. All sorts of learning is a good thing for you.
And well, that I'll agree with. So it's not a matter of, once again, don't shove college down kids' throats. Like, trades are a viable option, but continuing education is important. I know for me, I got done with high school and it went like I didn't care about learning anymore. I wasn't going to go to college. I tried to go to community college and I'd sign up for a class and show up the first 2-3 days and then not go anymore. And I threw my money away and didn't get anything out of it. And then when I did go to film school, I was paying for that out of my own pocket. There was a ton of debt behind it, but honestly, the accreditation was so bad. It was our slogan was D's for degrees among the students, and that's what you could do. You could get a D and move forward. Like, there was no effort. You didn't really have to try, let alone at film school. So like I can go watch Star Wars and write a paper on it, and now I get a grade and I get to move on. And then you have to film something and edit it and like, oh, it's good enough. But it wasn't until I got into flooring where it became apparent of, if I really want to do this, I have to keep learning. I have to go find the knowledge I need. Which once again comes back to this podcast of, boy, who do I go talk to about who runs a successful business and learn this stuff? And so I think trying to ingrain our kids with this need to get knowledge, as opposed to just saying, go to school because that's the way you do it. That's what needs to happen. The message is all wrong.
Well, and I think that making it an either-or thing is really detrimental to the student at the end. Maybe the answer is a vocational school where you learn hand skills with a section on running a business.
Well, I think that's a no-brainer. Why is it that when I go and I have somebody under me, right, I get an apprentice, I'm only teaching them the hand skills. And then there's the scarcity mindset guys that won't even teach you all the hand skills. And it's, well, I can teach you enough because if you leave, I don't want you to go compete against me. Why? Teach them everything. Show them the books. Expose it all. Let them know what it actually costs to run the business. Because I know that when I've got people under me, look, the carpet in the back of the truck doesn't disappear at night. When they go home from the job site and I got to drive home to another estimate and then go home and I got the kids and that carpet's gone in the morning. Somebody did it and it was me. Like, there's a cost to being the boss and running the business that employees don't always see. And getting that education communicated to them, letting them know what it costs to actually run a business, what it costs for them to be an employee, I think there would be a lot less disgruntled employees around when they can see what it costs for them to be on payroll, because it's not the $25 an hour that you get paid. There's other costs associated with that.
Train them so they can leave and treat them so they don't want to?
That's exactly it. But it's not even that. If they go and they leave, at least they want to compete on an equal ground or better ground, and we're going to raise the bar up instead of, well, I saw that the boss was making $5,000 a week. So if I go out and I can charge $4,000, like, I'll get the job because I'm not quite as skilled. But now we undercut the market, and then that guy goes and hires somebody, and he can't pay him as well, and he goes and, well, I'll do it for $3,500, and the next guy's, I'll do it for $2,500.
Just a second.
So this all plays back into it. So let's take your two girls for example, right? Like, they're being raised by you, who has a college degree. Mom has a college degree, and that's a legitimate path. You can do that, but you moved into flooring, self-taught, and you're running a business. But I know they've come out with you. So what is that exposure like? What does that mean to them?
Well, so my girls are entirely different creatures than I ever was. You know, my girls are rock stars. Their grades are on point. They're in every club. They do every sport. They put me to shame. So like, my oldest has like 2 part-time jobs in the summer. I'm like, these kids, who do they belong to? Like, are they my kids? Like, they're so much better than I ever was. But you know, they see, and I've offered them like, hey, you can come work for Skyro Floors, and they're like, no, we're good, Dad, we're good.
Well, that's where mine are. But okay, so I was hoping you'd make the comment. I'll pry it out of you. So what was the comment your daughter made to you?
Oh, about the rectangles on walls.
Let's go.
So
Put it out there.
my oldest had made the comment that setting tile was I don't want to put rectangles on walls, and I was so taken aback. Like, that's what you think I do? I put rectangles on walls? Child, you're coming out to a job site with me. I'll put you to work.
But it is more than that. Like, there's the fact that college is shoved down kids' throats, and it really was a change that I think came about when we were in school. Like, that's when it really, like, you're going to have to know computers, and you're going to have to go to school, and you're going to have to get this college degree to do anything in life. And that's not the case. And so I don't think trades get enough respect, because honestly, go hand a tape measure to a 15-year-old kid. How many of them can read it? Or the math involved to center a layout on a tile installation or a floor installation. I don't know that a lot of contractors realize that knowing that like a 3, 4, 5 triangle is advanced like algebra. But it is. And yet when they were in school and you sat them in front of the book, like, they couldn't do the math. And now they're on the floor and they whiz through it. And so there's a lot more going on with tradespeople than I think meets the eye. We're not just dirty blue-collar grunts that show up and, wrench on something.
I hate that stereotype. I can't stand the thought that a contractor is any less than an educated individual. Like, it's just this stigma that we carry that, if you look at TV, I feel like we've had this conversation before. Like, you look at TV shows throughout history, and the contractor is always this, older, sloppy dude that's kind of the goofball. Like, we can be smart. We can be intelligent. We can have whole, conversations that mean something. We can have an impact on people. And, it's just this stigma that we need to step out of. I don't need to write proper English on my letters, on my emails, because I'm just a contractor. That's not cutting it anymore. We need to step up our game and show that we're smart too.
I agree. If you're going to, I've made mistakes in emails and I feel bad about it. The client's going to judge you on how you present yourself. And so, yes, I understand that, like, I can come in, like, I shaved for this. Like, you're welcome, people. I'm not as sloppy as I usually am. But, I'll go and I'm not super clean shaven. Maybe I'm, like, a little ratty after working a day. But there is a certain stereotype that people associate with contractors showing up to their house. So can we show up a little messy and it's acceptable? Yes, and I'm not saying we need to show up in a 3-piece suit, but let's put some class back into the trades and get a little respect out there.
Well, and you just said you don't have to show up in a suit, but like, I would show up to an estimate dressed like this. I set tile in these pants. I set tile in this T-shirt. Like, this is me. This is real. I'm not dressing up to fluff my image here. Like, this is me. You get what you get.
Yes.
But I don't have tears in it. I'm not like untied shoes. There's a certain level of self-respect that it takes to make an impact on customers.
Yes, we need to show up. We need to do better, and it's not. You don't have to go to college to do that. It's taking pride in yourself. Like, respect who you are, and then that respect will come back to you. I think one of the biggest things I see is hanging out in online groups. There's a lot of guys that'll come along and, oh, this trade, we don't get any respect in it, and like they're going on and on about how they get no respect. And then they're the exact same person that posts the picture of the barely clothed woman sitting on something, and they're like, look at that tile work in the back, like, come on. If you're gonna act like a pig, then you're gonna get treated like one. And you can't sit there. Exactly. If you want respect, then you gotta go and put it out there, and you gotta hold the industry to a higher level. And I don't think there's a lot of people raising that bar, and then because of it, you end up telling your kids, well, you got to go to college because you don't want to be those guys. Well, that's not all of us.
And I always try to be mindful of myself, my mannerisms, like how I speak, what I'm saying. If I would, generally speaking, and I'm no saint, I cuss just like any the rest of us. But I honestly try and say, if I wouldn't say it in front of my daughters, I'm not going to say it in front of a customer. I'm not going to say it on an open forum. I want to hold myself to that standard where if I'm not making my girls proud, it shouldn't come out of my mouth.
So you have a line, and I don't know that everybody sets a bar, right? Like, what are we trying to live towards, right? Like, what's the goal? And there's another problem, right? Like, people aren't setting the goals. They'll talk about it, right? Like, okay, so I was told all the time, you're super ambitious, Kyle. You're super ambitious. Yeah, I had a lot of ideas, but until I had drive, I didn't have anything. Like, it was all talk. And so you've got to actually write things down. You've got to apply yourself. And where's that skill taught? And I don't think that's a college skill. This is like, we need to teach our children these skills. We need to put it and hold them accountable to what they want to accomplish. I have the same problem with my 12-year-old. He's been talking about running a lemonade stand for 3 years now. Well, Dad, I need the lemonade stand. Son, you don't need a lemonade stand. Well, I have to have something to sell at. No, dude, you need a pitcher of lemonade and some cups and some change,
and some
and you can go
motivation.
sell lemonade. Just go sell lemonade, and then you can come and do this. Like, if you want to go be an entrepreneur, go do it. Stop talking about it. Take a step. Well, no, I need all this. You don't need anything. Do you own a Camelback? Yeah. Put the lemonade in the Camelback, ride down to the park, and dispense it out the Camelback. Well, they're going to think it's gross. No, they're not. You're a kid. And it's a fight. Like, there's always an excuse. He has no drive, and it's trying to find, like, I haven't found the button or the way to turn them on with the key. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's so funny to hear you say that too, because my girls are like the opposite. They're the complete opposite of me. Like, I didn't have any motivation as a kid. I was a little skater rat, But like, my oldest with like 2 part-time jobs. My youngest is like, can I get a job this summer? We're like, go nuts. Like, sure, what? But they're all about that, they want to take that initiative. They want to go, and they must have got it from their mother, because I like to think that I'm motivated, but not nearly as much as they are.
Well, and it's once again, like, they're coming from a house with 2 degrees in it. And so, I mean, what's that? Let's not that we're super off topic, but like, what does the conversation in your house look like as your daughter's a sophomore now? Like, as she's getting closer to, like, does she say she wants to go to college?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
no, she wants
what though? Like,
she wants to go to college. She wants to be a lawyer. She's much smarter than I am.
Okay, but like, if that's what I like. If you want to go do college, like, for me, it's doctor, lawyer, engineer. I don't even think you need it for computers anymore. Like, you can self-teach via YouTube. What do you need a degree for? Like, go find a startup company. They're going to hire you in an instant. There's some venture capital guy's going to see a crazy idea. He's going to need 10 new programmers, and you're going to be able to get a job with them.
I have an IT minor. My kids blow me away, like, with the stuff they can do. I'm like, I could do a PowerPoint. They're like, Dad, we don't use that anymore.
Well, so over Christmas, like, my son is, the TV's too loud at my mother-in-law's house. I don't watch TV anymore. I don't use it. I don't do anything. There's like 4 remotes. and my mother-in-law's complaining the TV's too loud, and I'm sitting there like fumbling with 4 remotes. I drop them on the floor, call my son in the room, and he's got to turn it off.
In 2 seconds, he's got it.
Yeah, correct. It's like, I can't do this. And it's you reach a point where you can't even keep up anymore. So like, what's the degree even worth if you're not doing the continuing education, but you could have been doing continuing education the entire time?
Well, and there's different levels of education. We have this idea stuck in our head that, oh, college. Well, yeah, college is education. Hands-on experience is education. Your associate's degree is education. A trade school is education. An apprenticeship is education. All of these things are paths to something that comes next. And we don't need to be so focused on college, but we can't let that idea go. Like, that still needs to be an option, because giving this, this thought that you can do this or that, it just holds people back. And I just think it's such a mistake on our part to, make a kid choose one. And they're so young. They've got so much time ahead of them. And they don't realize, like, my daughter thinks once you make your decision, that's it. So if you get 10 years into a law degree and you don't want to do it anymore, you start over, you do something else. I can do that? Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, I can relate, because I was going to go to school and I was going to be a computer programmer at 18, and then I decided I didn't want to go to school. And then I was, laying around smoking weed and working part-time overnights at UPS loading trucks. Like, doesn't get much more dead end than that. But I thought I had to go get this degree. And then it was, okay, finally, like, oh, I figured it out, so I'll go to film school. Like, that's what I enjoy. I'll go to school for that. And then you get in film, and I learned more in 3 months in the field than I did in 3 years of school.
Well, and that goes back to everybody learning differently. But, dude, when I went to college, I was working full-time retail. I was working in soft goods retail, like clothing and stuff like that. And then I moved into construction retail, and then I moved into installation. But like, when I was going to college, I was going, taking marketing courses and everything. When I graduated, all the jobs for marketing were outside sales. And I was already making more in retail as a manager than I would have taken an outside sales job. So well, what's the sense in that?
Well, correct. I think that's the lost message you send a kid from 18 to 22 to go to college, and okay, they're living on their own and they get to hang out with their peers. Well, at 18, I was paying my own bills because I had a studio apartment and a car payment and electricity and, gas, and like, I had actual responsibilities, not like show up to class and fill in some bubbles on a test every once in a while. Yes, it gets you out there and it lets you learn something, but there's something to be said for like the hard lessons of, man, I screwed up and like bought something I shouldn't have, and now how do I come up with the money to pay the rent? Like, where do I got to go and hustle to get whatever it is I need? And the life experience you can get skipping college is almost more valuable, in my opinion, than what you get on the back end. Once again, it depends on where you want to go and what you want to do. I get that. Yes. And so, you're not going to become a lawyer by sitting at home. Like, you need to go get the law degree. I get that. But do I need the philosophy degree? Do I need the like minor in classic arts or something? Yeah, like whatever it's going to be. And don't get me wrong. Like, I respect college and higher education and what it brings to the table, and there's a lot of good in it.
Well, and I'm a fan of furthering your education. I'm a fan of pushing yourself, even in the trades within your industry. If you're, okay, I'm a tile setter and a floor layer, so I got my CFI certification, I got my CTI certification. I want to take my ACTs. That's the next step for me. I want to keep furthering my knowledge and my involvement in the industry. But it's funny how things happen where, I'm a firm believer in things happening for a reason. So I went to school in college and got a degree in marketing, and then I feel like I didn't get a job in marketing. But now, coming full circle and starting my own business, I'm back into marketing. And doing marketing that's a little different than what the degree was for, but I'm marketing, I'm building my brand, and that's a whole other thing. The flooring industry And me marketing and building my brand has brought me places across the country, here.
Correct.
And because of my brand building, on this trip, I'm over here with Tools for Flooring doing some social media stuff with them. Before, nobody, who's Ken Ballin? Nobody cares. Who's this knucklehead, But like I said, everything happens for a reason. Coming full circle, I'm on this path. And it's always about building my brand and furthering myself. And the more I build my brand, the more I can help others, which we've had that conversation before. Yeah. That's something that's close to my heart.
Well, I think it's interesting that just the landscape has changed. Influencer, right? Like I've been called one. Look, I don't like the term either, but like if that's the term, like people are calling us influencers in our industry. Creator. Okay, we can be a content creator. That's fine. We can do that. But essentially, when did that start existing? The last, I don't know, 5 years, maybe a little more. But that wasn't even a thing when we were growing up. There was very set, regulated rules, and so okay, once again, I can buy into this. Like you need to go get a college degree, but there's so many more opportunities now. The fact that
that little kid that just pulled in $5 million on TikTok, does he have to go to college?
Probably never again in his life. But I mean, that's the thing. Like if you're a parent and you have kids, you might know who like Ryan is on YouTube, and his family, they make millions and millions a year. They've been able to license themselves onto toys and all this stuff. Like the kid was set by the time he was 3 years old. He never needs anything. He can go to college for fun.
And so you just hit the nail on the head. You've got the money, so now it's not about money. We've taken that off the table completely.
Yeah.
Now it's about your path and what you want to do. So, and I say it all the time, if I won the lottery tomorrow, now I have not won the lottery, so take it for what it's worth. I would like to think that if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would still be setting tile every day because I love to do it.
Well, we're made to work. You have to do something, right? But I think it's important to go do something you love. And money is pushed too much. Like, look,
it's all about the happy. It's all about the happy.
Well, okay, look, I have the podcast that sits there and says, go charge more. And I got it from this guy, right? But like, yes, that's important, but we have to be able to go and do something we enjoy. And it's much easier to enjoy it when you have less worries. If I don't have to worry about how to pay my bills and there's a little bit of extra money in the bank, then I can go and enjoy myself on the floor, or I can go and come to Surfaces and take a week's vacation. Yes, this is my vacation. Here I am working. But I get to come out, I get to do what I enjoy and have fun with it. And I think that's what matters. Why isn't that message being communicated? And it's just, you got to go to school, you got to get a degree so you can get a high-paying job and you're going to be okay. It's not go find something you're passionate about, and if it happens to be at college, then we'll find a way to make this happen.
It should be find something that makes you happy and figure out how to make money doing it.
Yes.
Whether that's with college, whether that's with a trade school, whether that's with any other number of ways we've listed to further your education. Find something you love and let it make you money.
And I mean, how do you, we can take it back to your daughter. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't fall into flooring until my early 30s. And it's been a very welcoming industry. Like I'm blown away by how people let me in. But at 18, how do you tell an 18-year-old that thinks they're grown up, but they're not? And I wish if I could take it back, I would take back many things I said. But how do you give them that message of, hey, it's okay. Like, you don't have to get it right the first time. Because there's so much... They've been fed pressure for 18 years in most cases, and it may not come from home, but just being in that school system is going to put it on them.
Well, and it's funny because I always tell my girls, I don't care what you end up doing. I want you to be happy. go be a lawyer, go be a doctor, go be an engineer, go be a social media creator, whatever you want to do, just be happy. I will support you.
Well,
That needs to be the message.
I think so. I mean, look, how many people are teachers? Like, look, I live in Arizona. We're 49th for pay for teachers, and there's plenty of them doing it just out of passion, and they are not well compensated, and they very well should be, because our youth need someone that's passionate about what they do, and they want to make sure that their minds are filled correctly and blossom, and they're able to go out. And so getting this, I don't know, we have to stop saying you got to go to college. You don't. There's other viable options. There's options that we don't even know about. And by the, like my son's 10, in 8 years, who knows what options are going to be available, because technology will advance. It scares me to think about it sometimes.
I think we need to remove the focus on the end game and really kind of switch it to the journey instead.
I like that. Well, and I think that, we talked about it earlier, right? Like, find something you love to do, and then go do it well, and then you can enjoy it. And if you find a way to make it pay, then you're going to be good.
And if you change your mind halfway through and you decide, this isn't for me, that's okay. Start the journey again with something else. You get halfway through and that's not for you. Stop the journey. Start it on something else. That's okay. Find the happy.
Well, they're not failures, right? Like, because you stop doing something, that doesn't mean you failed. A lot of times you only fail, in my opinion, when you can't learn a lesson from it. If you learn a lesson, you didn't fail, you grew.
I always tell my girls, I never lose. I win or I learn.
There you go. And it's a message. I think it's even once we can relate it to school, right? Like, you got an F, okay, but what does that child need so that they can fully grasp the concept? Was it that they didn't study? Was it that they don't get it? Were they not paying attention? Like, what does that individual need? And when you put 30 kids in a classroom with one person, someone's going to be left behind. I'm sorry.
That one doesn't always get the attention that they need.
Correct. And it may not be a great home environment. And then all they hear is, well, you're a failure, and maybe their home life isn't so great, and they don't have the opportunities everybody else has, and, oh, you got to go to college, Well, I'm not cut out for college. But now there's not even the outlet for them anymore in the schools to be able to go and do wood shop or welding or electronics. And kids that would have been falling into the trades naturally through exposure in school, now all they get is, you got to go to school, but, well, I'm a loser, so now what do I do? Where do we fix it? How do we stop the message, and how do we get trades back in schools? And I've been challenging installers that if you have a free moment, connect with your local high school, connect with the local trades program, find out how you can get in there, donate your time just to go get them exposure to the fact that there's something beyond just going to college.
Well, it's going to take all of us. It's not you doing something, me doing something, them doing something. It's a group effort, and we need to show this younger generation what's possible, what we can accomplish. I can do cool stuff with my hands. I can also get paid for it.
Yes, and we have to make it look sexy. And honestly, the job postings I see, let's see, hard work, long days, must be able to lift 75 pounds, needs tool knowledge.
Yeah.
That's not appealing, but instant gratification. Watch a homeowner realize their dream. Get rewarded at the end of every day by seeing the progress you made. There's so many different ways to expose our careers and make them look good, and that's what's going to be necessary, right? I get to go into a house and the client tells me, I hate this carpet, I want, this hardwood put in. Well, I rip out the carpet that has dog piss stains all over it, and I get told, thank you. It looks so much better. And it's raw concrete. And then you start getting this floor laid down, and they say, oh my gosh, it looks so good. And then you come back the next day, and you're putting in some baseboards for them, and they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much better it looks with the baseboards. And then you clean it up, and they get the furniture put back, and they're thanking you again. There's so many rewards along the way, it's hard not to feel good about what you're doing for people, and yet then we go and sell it. We want young kids to come in and we tell them it's hard work, and then I'm going to yell at you because you got the wrong tool when you were never taught what a tool was. Like I had a kid start for me, and I had to teach how to read the tape measure, go get the hammer, go get this thing. He'd never touched a saw before, he never learned a darn thing. His dad was not that guy. But he learned. And the other thing is that they're young, and we think, oh, they're all lazy. They're not lazy. You have to remember that they grew up on a computer, and everything has been instantly available to them. But it's not just this instant gratification, it's that, Siri, what's the capital of Peru, right? And you don't have to work for it, right? I had to go to the
card catalog?
Yes, I had to ride my bike to the library. I had to know how the Dewey Decimal System worked. I had to go get the book. I learned that there had to be a work ethic involved. They don't have the work ethic because there wasn't that life experience. Everything is instantly available to them. And so when you get them in, you can't say they're lazy. You have to teach them that what a work ethic is. You're starting from something brand new and you have to mold them. And granted, yes, this is an 18 to 20-year-old kid. It's a pain. But if we don't want to lose what we have, we're going to have to start looking at this differently and accept that we need to change how we train people.
Well, and everybody learns differently too. So what works for you might not work for that kid that's coming to work for you. If you can tap into how he learns, that's a night and day difference. Once you can figure out how he's going to retain the most information, that's a game changer for him.
Yes, it's definitely individual learning styles and finding out how that works. The old school method of throwing the trowel or the hammer at the kid, it's not going to cut it anymore. That's not the world we're in. And they're not snowflakes and they're not sissies and they don't need corners to cry in, but they do need to be treated with respect. Because I can tell you that coming up when I was at UPS, I was very low level management. The middle management guys, you could screw up your area that was getting all the boxes loaded into it, and then the boss comes along and he pulls you outside and he reams you a new one. And all that did was make it so that I would work hard enough to not get yelled at again, because I didn't want that experience. But getting yelled at didn't teach me how to better manage my people. It didn't teach me how to better use, figure out when I was going to get slammed in a heavy wave or anything like that. It just made me say, this sucks. I feel really bad about myself. Thank you. I'm going to have to go solve this problem now. So we need to grow them. We need to raise them up and lift them up and let them know that they're valuable and we appreciate them. And it doesn't make them sissies.
Hey, we rise by lifting others, right?
There you go. I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to come out eventually. But why would anybody want to come and work for us in this industry when it's hard and it sucks and I don't like it and I'm stuck in it and I can't do it? Well, of course I'm going to go try and get a college degree.
You got to sell the sexy, man.
Correct. And it is sexy. What we get to do, what we get to create, we use our hands. I don't care if you were to go to if you do apartment work and you had 10 units to do, but they were all the same layout, it's not the same twice. They were all built by humans. It's going to be slightly different. A wall's going to be moved a quarter inch one way or the other. Something's going to be different about it. They're all unique.
Well, a basic layout doesn't devalue your craft any. Not everything is going to be a Mona Lisa. But that doesn't mean that anything less than a Mona Lisa brings any less value.
Right.
People are still living their lives on what we've done with our hands, and that's going to last them years. They're going to make memories on what we've done. You know?
Correct, and that's valuable to people. And so, why are we not selling that value? Why are we not showing these kids that there's something more? Because the college system figured it out, and they get to keep raising their rates. And yet, I always see, why can't we raise our rates? These are what I was getting in 1983. So apparently the higher education system knows something that contractors don't, and we might want to take something from that and apply it to our trade and start moving this message forward that what we have is just as valuable, if not more valuable, because you can lose a degree, they can take it away from you. They own it, right? So they can say, well, you cheated 10 years down the road and take your degree away. But what I teach someone to do with their hands, that's theirs to own for life. And if that's not empowering, I don't know what is. All right, so we're almost at the end here. So as my new question at the end is there something that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot like that?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
It's fun. It's fun to watch
Something
you sweat.
that you... No,
Did we miss anything?
I think we covered just about everything. I think the main point is, you know, college, no college, everybody has their own strengths. Everybody learns differently, but we need to really get this thought that it has to be one or the other. We have to take that off the table, because it's not one or the other. It's going to be a combination of multiple things, a combination of multiple avenues, and the more that you learn, the more paths you go down to increase your knowledge and your experience in your field, the better off you're going to be. So let's stop telling these kids, you have to go to college or you have to go to trade school, and say, go to trade school and take some college courses. Go to college and take on an apprenticeship with a contractor. You know, it's okay to do more than one. You don't have to pick one single path.
I love it. Let's leave it there. If anybody wants to find you, where do they find you? Well, okay, so let's do this. Okay, well, where do they find you right now at the show?
Right
and
now?
then where can they find you later?
So this week I'm over at the Tools for booth. We're doing some social media stuff on their Instagram feed. In general, though, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Skyro Floors. I post content there regularly. I admin a few online forums, Flooring Installers of America, Tile of 2.0. I'm very active on my social media, so if anybody needs anything, feel free to reach out via DM, text, email, anything. And, you know, thank you so much for having me, my friend. It's always
Awesome.
a pleasure.
Thank you. That is a special presentation of the Floor Academy podcast, sponsored by TISE TV, and you can learn more every Wednesday on Floor Academy, on every major streaming app, flooracademypod.com. And there's multiple tools on there now, whether you need to calculate your budget or get some great interview questions. And you can find me pretty much Floor Academy on Instagram, on Facebook. You can look up Illustrious Hardwoods and find me there. And I'm happy to chat anytime. If you need me, I will be roaming around the show, and I'll probably have a camera with me. And I'm currently looking to talk to people that I want to know what your biggest business mistake is and what you learned from it. So find me and let's get that answered. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.